Hello, my wonderful, wonderful children. Welcome to math class with Mr. Sankey. So, last time we talked about we talked about what are customary measurements, right? Customary measurements are feet, are cups, are pounds, are miles, are all sorts of things. We talked about different kinds of customary measurements, and today we're going to talk about how to convert between customary measurements. So if we want to say, all right, well, feet to inches, or yards to feet, or miles to feet, or something like that, or pounds to ounces, or cups to pints, or whatever we have, we are going to talk about how to convert those customary units. So, before we get into the conversion, let's make another one of our wonderful tables, and we will be talking about common conversion rates between measurements. Now, if you remember, how many different types of measurements are there, main categories of measurements? There are three. There is length, weight, and capacity. Length, weight, and capacity. Now, I'm going to zoom into each of these so we can spend a little bit of in-depth time focusing on the different measurements here. So, here are some common conversions that we should know. 12 inches equals 1 foot. You should all know that. 12 inches equals 1 foot. 3 feet equal 1 yard. Again, that should be one that's pretty common. 3 feet equal 1 yard. Now, we're going to go to 5,280 feet equal 1 mile, and 1,760 yards equal 1 mile. Okay, those are the four common conversions that we see with customary measurement for length. All right, now let's go and look at some conversions for weight. And weight, we have 16 ounces equal 1 lb. And then we have 2,000 pounds equal 1 ton. All right, so we have ounces to pounds, pounds to tons. Just a few for weight, but that is doable. All right, now capacity. Capacity's got a lot of them because if you remember, there were a lot of different units that we measured. So some of the common ones we have 8 fluid ounces equal 1 cup. Okay, so it's different. Ounces is different. So weight ounces is 16 to 1 pound. Capacity ounces is 8 fluid ounces to 1 cup. Okay, so it's important to remember the difference. One of the ounces is 16, one of the ounces is 8. So remember that difference. Next we have 2 cups equal 1 pint. Then we have 2 pints equal 1 quart. And then we have 4 quarts equal 1 gallon. All right. It is good to know these things because we're going to be using them to be converting our units. All right. So now the way we do that, the way we're going to convert our units is by using proportions. Using proportions. All right, so we want to use proportions here to help us know how to convert things. Let's say I wanted to convert 8 feet to inches. 8 feet to inches. I want to convert between feet and inches. Okay. So I need to set up this problem in a way that I know that I'm going to be using proportions to convert feet to inches. Okay. Feet to inches. Now, go back to my list here and see what's my relationship between feet and inches. Well, I know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. Okay, so I'm going to make a ratio following the same unit progression as my first ratio. So my first ratio is feet to inches. So feet needs to stay on top the whole time. 1 foot equals 12 inches. Okay, and I'm going to use this ratio and another ratio to find out if 1 foot equals 12 inches, how many inches are in 8 feet? Okay, where my question was, 8 feet is how many inches? So, 8 staying on top because 1 is on top, because feet is on top. All of my feet units are staying on top. My inches units are on bottom. Do I know how many inches are in 1 foot? No, so I'm going to put an X because it's unknown. Oh, look at that. Wow, remember all that? All right, now I'm going to solve for this X. What's my first step in solving a proportion? Cross multiply. 12 times 8 equals 1 times X. And 12 times 8 is 96. 1 times X is 1X. When I have 1X, when I have a variable with 1 as my number, I don't actually need that 1. I can just erase it. And I get 96 equals X. So that tells me that 8 feet equal 96 inches. Raise your hand if that was confusing. If you get it, great. If it was confusing, also totally fine. Nothing wrong with being confused. This is one that's hard to do, and it's one that we don't really do a lot because we have Siri and we have Alexa and we have all the things to help us just make these conversions immediately, and so we don't really do them with pencil and paper, but it's good to know how to do them and how to use proportions to convert. All right, let's try another one here. All right, sometimes we just keep working till we get it all right. Keep working it till it makes sense. Let's say I want to know, let's do how many feet is 4 yards equals how many feet. So we're going to take our 2 units here. I'm actually going to do something a little different. I'm going to write our units in a color so that when I'm making my proportions, we can see that the same color is on the same side of all of my ratios. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 ratios as we go. My first one's just going to be units. Yards to feet. Now, what's my relationship up here on my table between yards and feet? Well, 1 yard equals 3 feet. Right up here, I've got 1 yard equals 3 feet. So I keep that. Yards stay on top, feet stay on bottom. Now, I look back at the information given to me here and say, what information was given? Well, I know I have 4 yards and an unknown amount of feet. So now I'm going to take my math problem here. I'm going to cross multiply. 3 times 4 equals 1 times x. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times x. Remember, I don't actually need that 1 if it's only a 1. Equals x. So 4 yards equal 12 feet. 4 yards equal 12 feet. Okay, what we do, step 1. Let me erase this so we can write our steps here. Step 1, set up unit ratio. Okay, set up my unit ratio. That's right here. Step 2, make a common conversion ratio. The common conversion is 1 yard equals 3 feet. That's step 2. Step 3, make a ratio from the question. That's here. This is my 4 yards equal some amount of feet. Yard stays on top, feet stay on bottom. And then step 4, solve the proportion. All right. Those are my 4 steps to converting customary units here. All right. Now, in doing this, I'm always going to give you, well, not always. I most of the time like to give you a problem to end our lesson on. So, as we're getting ready to wrap up, let me ask you, we'll say, go with a nice blue color. We will say, 14 pints equal how many quarts? Good luck. See you all tomorrow. Please come with questions so that I can answer them. Bye.